Hi everyone, my name is Ryan Liebert, and today we're going to be doing a read-along. We're going to be doing one of my favorite books from when I was your guys' age. This is Dr. Seuss' Hooray for Diffendoofer Day. This is actually one of the last books he was able to write, so it's really interesting how it all came together, and I wanted to share that with you guys. And we're going to talk about it while we're reading. So the first thing I want to talk about here is that when we look at the cover of this book, if you can see that there, you'll see someone standing right here, and I just want you guys to take a good look at her. And what do we think about her? Do we think that she's nice looking, or does she look like mean? Again, if we take a look right here, she's drawn very strangely, which is something you're going to see a lot in the book. It's a lot of weird drawings, which I'm sure you guys have made some weird drawings too, because who doesn't like to be weird? So we're going to get right into this. This is Hooray for Diffendoofer Day. I've always lived in Dinkerville. My friends all live here too. We go to Diffendoofer school, and we're happy that we do. Our school is at the corner of Dinkzuber and Dinkzot. It looks like any other school, but we suspect it's not. I think we're learning lots of things not taught at other schools. Our teachers are remarkable. They make up their own rules. So, we'll take a look at the picture here. And you'll see a little guy right there. That's one of the students that we see. He's the one who's telling us all about his school. And Diffendoofer school. That's a crazy word, right? Diffendoofer? Can you guys even say that word? It's pretty big, and it's not real. It's a word that was made up, but do we still think that it means something? Why do you think that they used a fake made-up name for this book? Miss Bobble teaches listening. Miss Wobble teaches smelling. Miss Fribble teaches laughing, and Miss Quibble teaches yelling. Miss Twinning teaches tying knots in neckerchiefs or noodles, and how to tell cryanthemums from miniature poodles. Miss Vining teaches all the ways a pigeon may be peppered, and how to put a saddle on a lizard or a leopard. So, there are a lot of things in that one page, right? So we can see all of the different teachers on here. You guys can see those. And would you guys want to take any of these classes? Do they sound more fun than the classes that you guys are in right now? Out of all those classes that I just told you about, that all these teachers teach, which one do you want to have the most? And why? My teacher is Miss Bonkers. She's bouncy as a flea. I'm not certain what she teaches, but I'm glad she teaches me. Look, look, she chirps. I'll show you how to tell a cactus from a cow. And then I shall instruct you why a hippo cannot hope to fly. So here's Miss Bonkers, and if we can remember from that opening right here on the cover, that's her right there. So Miss Bonkers seems really nice, even if she is drawn a little weird. And she says in this book, look, look, she chirps. So she says in this book, or it says, look, look, she chirps. I'll show you how to tell a cactus from a cow. When it says she chirps, what do you think when you hear that word chirp? Do you think she's really making a chirping sound like a bird? Or do you think that it means something else? She even teaches frogs to dance and pigs to put on underpants. One day she taught a duck to sing. Miss Bonkers teaches everything. Of all the teachers in our school, I like Miss Bonkers best. Our teachers are all different, but she's different-er than the rest. So here she is with her little singing duck right there. The frog dancing, all the students we see, the pig with underpants. So as you can see, this is a very silly little book. And it kind of shows that even when someone's silly, it doesn't mean that they can't be a teacher or they can't be someone who's grown up and adult. They can still be silly. Because you like being silly, right? Well, adults like to be silly too. We also have a principal. His name is Mr. Lowe. He's the very saddest man that any of us know. He mumbles, "Are they learning this and that and such and such?" His face is wrinkled like a prune from worrying so much. He breaks a lot of pencils from pushing down too hard, and many dogs start barking as he mopes around the yard. We think he wears false eyelashes. In fact, we're sure it's so. We heard he takes them off at night. I guess we'll never know. So we're going to show you Mr. Lowe here. He takes up a whole page. That's the principal. And he does not look happy. As it said on there, he's worried that the students aren't learning. Do you think you could learn if all your teachers are that crazy? Because Mr. Lowe doesn't think you'd be able to. But we know he likes Miss Bonkers. He treats her like a queen. He's always there to watch her when she's on her trampoline. And then we can see him watching her jump around. So he might have a little crush on her. There are many other people who make Diffendoofer run. They are utterly amazing, and I love every one. Our nurse, Miss Clot, knows what to do when we've got sniffles or the flu. One day I had a splinter, so she bandaged me from head to toe. Mr. Plunger, our custodian, has fashioned a machine. A super zuper falooper duper. It keeps the whole school clean. So, there's our janitor right there. And there's his flooper duper machine, as they call it. Have you ever seen a janitor riding around your school on something like this? But I bet you guys want to ride that, right? Pretty cool, huh? Our music teacher, Mrs. Fox, makes bagpipes out of straws and socks. Our art instructor, Mr. Bees, paints pictures hanging on his knees. So here's some of the pictures that he drew. And if you guys have read any other Dr. Seuss books, or know any other ones like The Cat in the Hat, or The Lorax, or Green Eggs and Ham, you can see that they have a couple of those drawings as his art. In science class with Mr. Katz, we learned to build robotic rats. In the gym, we watch as Mr. Bear hoist elephants up in the air. Mrs. Loon is our librarian. She hides behind the shelves. She often cries out louder when we're reading to ourselves. You guys know how the library works, right? They normally want you to be quiet, but she wants you to be loud. And you can see, again, a bunch of Dr. Seuss books in here that you guys might have read. We have 3 cooks, all named Mr. Munch, who merrily prepare our lunch. They make us hot dogs, beans, and fries, plus things we do not recognize. As they cook, they sing their song, not too short and not too long. Roast and toast and slice and dice. Cooking lunch is oh so nice. So here's Mr. McMunch right there. Well, all 3 of them. And have you guys ever had a sandwich that looked that crazy? So when you guys are at school, what's your favorite part of the day? Do you guys like going to the library or going to art class? Because these guys would probably make going to lunch really fun, right? Or do you like it better at your school? We were eating their concoctions, telling jokes and making noise, when Mr. Lowe appeared and said, "Attention, girls and boys!" He began to fuss and fidget, scratch, mutter, sneeze, and cough. He shook his head so hard that we thought his eyebrows would come off. He wrung his hands and cleared his throat and shed a single tear, then sobbed, "I have something to announce, and that is why I'm here. All schools for miles and miles around must take a special test to see who's learning such and such to see which school's the best. If our small school does not do well, then it will be torn down, and you will have to go to school in dreary Faloober Town." So there's Mr. Lowe and in his hallway with so many classes in all these hallways. And he looks really sad. He doesn't think that the students are going to be able to pass the test. Why do you think that? Do you think it has anything to do with the teachers there? Not Floobertown, we shouted, and we shuddered at the name, for everyone in Floobertown does everything the same. It's miserable in Floobertown. They dress in just one style, they sing one song, they never dance, they march in single file. They do not have a playground and they do not have a park. Their lunches have no taste at all and their dogs are scared to bark. And then here is Floobertown. See how everyone's dressed the exact same and looks the exact same? You don't like that, right? Would you rather go to a school that's crazy or a school where everyone's the same? Because when you go to school now, everyone's different, right? Even the people that you're best friends with, they're different from you in some way. The way they look, the way they dress, the way they act. And that's a good thing, right? Or do you think that we should have a school like Floobertown? Miss Bonkers rose. Don't fret, she said. You've learned all the things you need. To pass that test and many more, I'm certain you'll succeed. We've taught you that the earth is round, that white and red make pink, and something else that matters more, we've taught you how to think. I hope you're right, sighed Mr. Lowe. He shed another tear. The test is in 10 minutes, and you're taking it right here. So Miss Bonkers, she has faith. Have you guys ever heard that word, faith? She thinks that all the kids are going to do really well on their test. But tests can be really scary, right? But I think that they're all going to do well too. Do you? Do you think you do well on a test after having such crazy teachers? We sat in shock and disbelief. Oh no, we yelled, oh no. We were more unhappy than even Mr. Lowe. But then the test was handed out. Yahoo, we yelled, yahoo! For it was filled with all the things that we all knew we knew. There were questions about noodles, about poodles, frogs, and yelling, about listening and laughing, and eating, barking, and smelling. There were questions about other things we'd never seen or heard, yet somehow we answered them. We answered every word. So here, these are some of the questions they had to answer. And see, there's not even words on these questions. So they don't even know what they're asking, but they already knew the answers. 1 week later after recess, Mr. Lowe meandered in. We'd never seen him smile before, but now he wore a grin. He soon began to giggle, then his giggle grew by half, and then it really happened. Mr. Lowe began to laugh. You've saved our school! You've saved our school! He jubilantly roared. We've got the very highest score. He wrote that on the board. So they got a really big number. You know how if you get an 100%, that means that you did perfect? Well, they got way more than 100%. And there's Mr. Lowe looking really happy about it. Is that how you guys feel when you do really well on a test too? Miss Bonkers did some cartwheels till her face turned cherry red. She bounded up to Mr. Lowe and kissed him on the head. Hooray, she shouted. I'm so proud I cannot speak. But she did another cartwheel and she pecked him on a cheek. Ahem, ahem, coughed Mr. Lowe. You all deserve a bow. I thus declare a holiday. It starts exactly now. Because you've done so splendidly in every sort of way, this day shall forever be known as Diffendoofer Day. And furthermore, I promise I won't ever wear a frown. For now I know we'll never go to dreary Floobertown. So Miss Bonkers finally gave him a kiss. He was very happy about that. Then we held a celebration. There was pizza, milk, and cake. Like everyone, I ate too much and got a bellyache. We laughed and whooped and hollered and roared the entire school all day long. Then we sang triumphantly the Diffendoofer song. So, Diffendoofer Day is a holiday that they celebrate because they did so well in their test. And there's a song at the end, and I can't sing, but I'm gonna sing it for you guys anyways. We love you, Diffendoofer School, we definitely do. There surely is no other school that's anything like you. You're gribbulous, you're grobulous. Each day we love you more. You're the school we treasure and increasingly adore. Oh, finest school in Dinkerville, the only one as well. We love you, Diffendoofer School, much more than we can tell. You're so Diffendooferous, it gives us joy to say. 3 cheers for Diffendoofer School. Hooray, hooray, hooray. So why do we think that they did so well on that test? Because Mr. Lowe didn't think they were going to. Do you think it has anything to do with the teachers? Do you think they made it easier for the kids or harder? And we learned at the end that their differences from Floobertown were a good thing, because they ended up doing really well on the test. Do you think that you'd do better in Floobertown, or would you really rather go to the Diffendoofer School? I have one more question for you guys. Who was your favorite teacher? There's so many crazy teachers and staff in this book that even if you don't remember the name, which one was your favorite and why? The one that you want to have the most with your teacher. Well, thank you guys for listening and have a great rest of your day.